You know it if you were one of the tens, if not hundreds of millions of people who heard this. It's the podcast serial, the subject of which has now been granted a new trial. A Maryland judge has vacated Adnan Syed's murder conviction. He was sentenced to life in prison in 2000 for the killing of his ex-girlfriend. Prosecutors based part of their case on cell phone evidence that the defense claimed was circumstantial. But now a judge has decided that Syed's original lawyer offered ineffective assistance when she failed to investigate a potential alibi witness or cross-examine another expert about cell phone tower data. Nick Thompson is a CBS News contributor, editor of TheNewYorker.com, and here to discuss it all. So first, to the goings-on here. In a post-conviction hearing, Syed's lawyers had argued a few different things, looking for a retrial. One was a key alibi witness, Asia McClain, who said that she saw Syed at a library at the time of the murder, and the other involved this cell phone tower data. A judge ruled, in effect, that they had a good case. So what exactly was it, and how has it impacted you?
Okay, so the case against Adnan Syed basically relied on two main things. I mean, there are 1,000 things in this case that everybody knows, so there are two central things. One, there's this guy named Jay, who says that Syed did it, he helped bury the body, and he led the police to the car. He seemed like a fairly credible witness.
Yes.
The second thing is that if you look at the cell phone data, it seemed as though the prosecutor's case matched where Adnan's phone was, most particularly that he was in Leakin Park where the body was found at, I believe, between 7 and 8 p.m. that night, because there had been two incoming calls that were matched to a cell tower that would have been connected to a phone that could have been in Leakin Park, right? So that's the case against him. There's a witness, and the cell phone data matches it. The other side was, hey, wait, we've got a witness, Asia McClain, who says he was in the library, and two, the cell phone data isn't reliable. And so what Adnan's lawyers were arguing is that in the initial trial, Adnan's lawyer then, who is now deceased, didn't bring Asia McClain, didn't even use that as an alibi, and then didn't question the cell phone data. And most particularly, the discrepancy in the cell phone data between the accuracy of incoming calls and outcoming calls. Both of the calls that placed him at Leakin Park at 7 o'clock were incoming calls, and there had been a cover sheet on the data sent to the expert witness saying you can't totally trust the data on incoming calls.
It is impossible to believe that any of this would have come to pass had Serial not become the cultural touchstone that it is now. I mean, it's far beyond a hit. What impact do you think the podcast had?
Well, it's absolute. I mean, the impact it had on our culture and our country is immense, right? It completely transformed podcasting, right? It took podcasting from maybe a niche thing to something massive. I mean, the number of podcasts that have started in the wake of Serial's success is extraordinary. It taught us a whole lot about the criminal justice system and about this amazing case, and it transformed the way storytelling works. It was the first time in a long time that there's been this kind of serialized storytelling, and we've seen a lot more of it. So it's an amazing cultural moment. It's an interesting moment in the judicial system, but then there's still the interesting case of, did Adnan kill her, right? You can look at, I mean, if you read the ruling yesterday, it's very clear that he did not get a good trial. It's very clear that he did not have good defense. But as the judge says, it's not at all clear he's innocent. Right. And those are separate matters.
Even, I mean, there's a bit of sound we're hearing from him in a phone conversation where he is repeatedly making the case, I didn't have a reason to kill her. Not necessarily saying I didn't kill her, just saying I didn't have a good reason to. Which, again, to your point, those are two different ideas.
Right. I mean, if you were to make the case that he's probably guilty, you would say, well, why would Jay lie, right? The rest of the cell phone evidence matches. There are a lot of reasons why you should question Asia McClain's alibi. It seems like maybe she made it up, right? There is tons of evidence that he either killed her or at least was the most likely guy to do it. But that's not the way our criminal justice system works. The way our criminal justice system works is you're supposed to have a competent lawyer, and you're supposed to be innocent and guilty beyond any reasonable doubt, and that's a totally separate thing.
We had one of his staunchest supporters, the older sister of his very good friend, on yesterday, and she said, making the case perhaps that he doesn't have a bone in his body that could be that of a killer. Again, perhaps what we would expect. But interestingly, she also said, when asked about the impact of the podcast, she was very reflective that what has struck her is that it's too bad that the tens of thousands of others, perhaps unjustly imprisoned, don't have podcasts of their own. That, we know about things like the Innocence Project, which work tirelessly to overturn undue convictions. But is there an application here moving forward? I mean, no.
I mean, there isn't, right? I mean, you couldn't have 10,000 podcasts like this because we don't have time in the day. We only have an hour a day to dedicate to Serial, right? You could have, I suppose if all we did was listen to podcasts, right, you could have 168 such cases that we listen to for every hour of the week. But you can't scale this. I mean, what you can have happen is hope that this is a lesson for the criminal justice system, hope it's a lesson for jurors, hope it's a lesson for lawyers, and it helps us all understand how these cases play out and the biases that can seep in and the way people can be convicted without completely fair trials. But you're not going to free everybody via podcast.
I think it's fair to agree that at least there will be a thorough retrial of the facts here, and the injustices done perhaps with ineffective assistance on the part of the defense can be undone.
Absolutely.
Fascinating, though, and it was remarkable to watch just the reaction to this on social media.
I mean, the reaction on social media has been incredible because remember, it's not just the podcast, which was amazing. It was the sort of the programming around the podcast, right? You go into Reddit, and the number of threads and the depth and the analysis, it's just incredible what happened around this thing.
I mean, it's metastasizing as we speak about it.
I mean, there are great podcasts about the podcast, and there are podcasts about those podcasts.
There's got to be, if Nick Thompson's here, there's a Meditate somewhere, and we just found it again. Hey, Nick, always great to have you. Thanks.
Great to be here. Thank you.